everyone, welcome back for another episode of NHL Daily Talk, and it is just Kyle today, as Iacob could not make the episode, but there's a lot of news today, obviously, since we missed an episode yesterday, so I'll recap what happened in the NHL yesterday briefly. Of course, we'll do our recap for 2 days worth of games, which I will only fully recap one game, and that will be the game from yesterday. The others, I will just say the score and the game-winning goaltender, but yeah, on that note, to make this episode so it's not insanely long, I will get right into it. And for our first news topic of the day, which I don't know why I didn't have it pre-selected, but I guess we could start with this: the fact that the Dallas Stars, after their game yesterday, clinched, or yeah, I guess it was a day ago. Well, a little over a day ago now, but they clinched the playoffs, and they're the second team to do so, behind obviously the Colorado Avalanche. And man, the fact that arguably the two best teams in the NHL are in the same division is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the Dallas Stars will make their fifth straight appearance in the NHL playoffs. And can they go all the way and win their first championship since 1999? Which that will be, or I guess is to be seen. But yeah, I'm sure Jamie Benn and that team is happy, and we'll see what happens. But on the other hand, we have our first team that is mathematically eliminated, which I did make a short about this yesterday, so if future me remembers, I will tag that video down below for you guys, so you guys can go and give that a watch. But the Vancouver Canucks are officially eliminated from the playoff race, and yeah, this is pretty rough. And of course, they've missed the playoffs in 9 of the last 11 seasons, which, yikes. Obviously, they made it in 2024, where they lost in Game 7 of the second round to the Oilers. And then back in 2020, when there was the bubble, they lost in Game 7 to Vegas in the second round as well. So when they make it, they are serious threats. But unfortunately, this team is not often able to make it that far. And obviously, it doesn't matter if you don't make it that far. But yeah, I mean, they'll get a high draft pick. Hopefully get a Gavin McKenna or an Ivar Stenberg, and maybe they can turn this ship around. But yeah, unfortunate for the Canucks, but honestly best for what's, they definitely need this, and this is in their best interest going in the long run. But actually, we have news regarding an outdoor game, or not outdoor game, sorry, oh my goodness, a global series game where the NHL has announced that the Seattle Kraken will play the Carolina Hurricanes in the 2026 Global Series in Finland, hence the caption Finland, of course. And they'll play 2 games at Veikkaus Arena in Helsinki on November 12th and November 14th. So these teams will, have a good run at it, and we will see what happens. But yeah, it should be good. And I mean, Global Series games are great, and it's good to get to see, the NHL play in other markets. And I don't know, we'll see, but I'm sure the Hurricanes will have a good time in these matches. And I don't know about Seattle, but obviously next year is a new season, and we don't know what the teams are going to look like next year, so I really have no idea what to expect out of that one. But we have a couple signings now before we get into another piece of news. But the St. Louis Blues have signed forward Felix Trudeau to a 2-year entry level deal worth 1.05, or I guess 1,050,000 AAV for 2 seasons. And Trudeau had 25 goals, 48 points through 39 games played with Sacred Heart University in the NCAA this season. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure where Sacred Heart University is located, but great for him. And those are, I guess that's a really great stat line. And it's pretty unprecedented to see a guy score just about 50 points, but potentially he's going to win, NCAA Player of the Year, or could be in contention for it, but we will see. But of course, he was an undrafted free agent, and we have seen many of those sign over the last few days, and he is not the first, nor will he be the last. But yeah, good for the Blues, and they get a solid player, and obviously Felix Trudeau, and maybe he can go and be serviceable for them right now, but more than likely it's probably next season he'll jump onto the roster. But moving on, the Utah Mammoth have signed forward Caleb Desnoyers to a 3-year entry-level deal, and Desnoyers, who's 18, has 22 goals and 78 points, through 45 games with the Moncton Wildcats in the QMJHL this season. And he was drafted 4th overall by Utah in the 2025 NHL entry draft. And this is a cool player because actually I've gotten to speak with him. Obviously, I had a coworker who actually personally knows him, as they are from the same hometown in Quebec, and I got to speak to Caleb over the phone, and seems like a really good guy. And I don't know, maybe he'll be up to something good, or maybe he'll play well in the show. But yeah, good for him to earn his entry level deal, and I wish him luck. I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do at this level, and for the Mammoth, along with TJ Ginla, they will be a huge threat down the line, especially since they've got Nick Schmaltz locked up now. Obviously, they still have Clayton Keller. This team will be a threat, especially and not to mention Dylan Gunther too on that roster. So, and Logan Cooley. Oh my gosh, yeah, that Mammoth roster actually looks really good now. I'm not gonna lie, especially after adding Uyghur too. Wow, I always forget the guys they have on that roster. But after a knee-on-knee collision for Niko Mikkola, where he went on he had a knee-on-knee collision against with Ryan Strome against the Calgary Flames, and obviously it was coincidental contact, and neither player intended for that outcome. But yeah, Niko Mikkola is done for the season, and obviously the Panthers lose another D-man, and Mikkola is out with a knee injury. Balinskis is out, apparently also with a undisclosed fracture. So, not sure if he's also done for the season, but yeah, it looks pretty bad. And Mikkola was down for a while before eventually they helped him up and off the ice, and it was unfortunate to watch. But yeah, that Calgary Florida game was rough. Obviously, AJ Greer just minutes before that happened ended up boarding Connor Zary, and then obviously this one, albeit an accident, still real rough to see, and you do not love to see that. But moving on, the Detroit Red Wings have assigned defenseman Axel Sandin Pellikka to the Grand Rapids Griffins, which is their AHL team. And apparently, Sandin Pellikka, who's 21 years old, he had 6 goals and 19 points through 63 NHL games played with the Detroit Red Wings in what is his rookie NHL campaign this season. And apparently, since acquiring Justin Falk along with a couple other guys, he has lost favor on that Detroit Red Wings roster, and he's been scratched for their last 7 games. And I guess they've opted to go the route of sending him down, and it'll be beneficial for his development down the line. And I mean, he's still really young. He's only 21. Guys don't cap off until they're 26, 27, sometimes even older than that. And yeah, he's good, but obviously, I guess his time is not now, and obviously he's still got a lot of work to do, but the Red Wings sent him down, and we'll see what he can do in the minors. And, if he does something crazy, we'll be talking about him again, but obviously that is not a today thing. But now we have the Flyers, who signed forward Alex, oh my gosh, Chernik to a 3-year entry-level deal worth 1.075 million AAV, and he had 1 goal and 3 points through 19 games played with the Pelicans in the Finnish Liga this season, which he also has 2 goals and 5 points through 21 games played with Nybro Vikings in the Hockey Allsvenskan, which is Tier 2 in Sweden. And this is a player I've never heard of either. Obviously, the Flyers, have, I guess, or not have, but they see something in him that, obviously, with the points alone, I don't see, why this is the guy, but we'll see, obviously. I mean, he'll probably start with Lehigh Valley. I highly doubt he's going to jump straight onto their NHL roster, but, he could be a serviceable player, and all of these rookie free agents, obviously, aren't too bad. And apparently he was drafted by the Flyers, actually 120th overall, so late in the 4th round by the Flyers in the 2023 NHL entry draft. So he is a draft pick of theirs. So I guess that's probably where they find what they see in him. And yeah, I mean, good for him to earn a contract. And yeah, I mean, personally, probably don't see him making the league, but you never know. We'll see what happens down the line. But a few more signings, which obviously, the first one we see, Fyodor Svechkov of the Nashville Predators signed a 2-year extension with the Preds worth 1.25 million AAV, And Svechkov, he's 22 years old, has 3 goals, 13 points through 58 games played with the Nashville Predators this season. And from what I've heard from Preds fans and have seen when I watch him play is that he's a very responsible defensive forward who can kind of fill, a role on any team's bottom six. And obviously he's very good in the dot. He's good defensively. He can chip in a bit offensively from time to time, and he is still young and has the potential to blossom into that, well-rounded player. And I don't know, maybe not to the same level, but he definitely gives me like Sebastian Aho vibes. I highly doubt he'll be the same level, but yeah, no, he's pretty good, and you love to see it for him. And he earned himself a nice payday, which these guys are not paid poorly by any means. So yeah, no, great for him. And moving on, which apparently the PWHL is going to expand again, and I'm going to be honest, I've lost track of how many teams they have at this point. I believe just recently they added the Vancouver team and the Seattle team, but apparently they are also going to get a team in Chicago, or so is rumored. It has not been confirmed on any front, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see, and yeah, I'm excited to see, obviously, this league continue to grow, and for women's hockey, this is excellent news, and another team is never a bad thing in any league, I don't think. Because at least if you're adding teams, it shows an upward projection, which is always what you want to see. You don't want to see that, obviously, trend the other direction where you start losing teams. And yeah, that's all I'd say about that. Then, of course, we see another signing, which there was a lot of those. And that's what happens when you miss a day and don't upload. But the Vegas Golden Knights have signed goaltender Pavel Moisevic to a 3-year entry-level contract worth $980K AAV. And Moisevic, who's 21, is 5-3-0 with a 917 with SK VMFA St. Petersburg in the VHL this season. So he isn't playing in the KHL, but he is in that junior system in Russia. And I mean, he's put up very solid numbers in what is a small sample size, but if this guy can, translate his game to North America, I feel like he could definitely be a good backup down the line for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know about a starter, but I have seen crazier things, and goalies tend to develop later, so no, not a bad signing, and he earned himself a payday, and yeah, good for him, but please save us, Pavel. That's a funny message by one of the Vegas fans, but yeah, their goaltending this season has been pretty horrific, but we have only a few more news points, which, oh my goodness gracious, there's a lot, actually. Okay. Anyways, apparently, Thomas Chabot will be out for a while after sustaining an injury against the New York Rangers yesterday, where he ended up getting slashed in the hand, and it did not look good, but I believe it was an accident, of course. I don't think any player intends for that to happen, and yeah, Thomas Chabot will be out, and I saw that also Lassie Thompson will be out for the Senators as well, which apparently they've been having a lot of, obviously, injuries on their blue line, and yeah, it's not good to see, but they did win last night, which, spoiler alert, I will recap that game in full, so stay tuned for that, but yeah, no. I mean, I'm just going to move through these last points real quick, because obviously we're taking quite a while on this, but the Boston Bruins have signed their rookie, or I guess a player that they drafted 7th overall in the 2025 NHL entry draft in James Hagens, and Hagens obviously is an excellent prospect, and he's signed to an AHL tryout with the Providence Bruins, which I believe will only lead to him going up to the NHL, or if nothing else, he will spend the remainder of the season in the AHL. But with Boston College in the NCAA this season, which is fitting since, he's drafted by the Bruins, he had 23 goals and 47 points through 34 games, so we'll see what he can do, but yeah, he's an excellent player, and he's got a very high offensive ceiling. And as for another player, another rookie, the Chicago Blackhawks have called up forward Anton Frondell to the NHL, and Frondell, who's 18, had 20 goals, 28 points through 43 games played with Djurgårdens in the SHL this season. So we'll see what he can do, but he was drafted 3rd overall. Excuse me. third overall by the Chicago Blackhawks in the 2025 NHL entry draft. And this will be his NHL debut today. And yeah, he's going to be another one of those players who's going to be amazing and likely to be a 2C down the line for the Chicago Blackhawks. And yeah, I'm excited to see what this kid can do. And I'm sure we'll speak about him tomorrow because I will definitely get one of Iacob and I to recap the game where, he made his NHL debut, and we'll talk about him, and hopefully he scores, hopefully he gets some points, and yeah, go get him, Anton. But as for a couple other points, this one's real quick. Pontus Aberg, who's a former NHLer, signed a 2-year deal in Switzerland, which I guess he has 9 goals, third 23 points through 47 games with the ZSC Lions, and EHC Kloten in the oh my gosh, in Switzerland. Oh my gosh, what is the league? I can't remember off the top of my head. But he has 100. Oh my gosh, the amount of talking is making me yawn. But he has 132 games of NHL experience from 2016 to 2020. So yeah, good for him. And we're gonna move on. Uh, the Islanders have signed goaltender Joshua Kotai to a 2-year entry-level deal, and Kotai, who's 23 years old, went 20-11-4 with a 938 with Augustana University in the NCAA this season, and he was an undrafted free agent, and those are excellent numbers and good win ratio. Obviously, I assume his team was on the rather mediocre side, considering he had himself a only 20 wins and 15 losses if you combine overtime shootout along with obviously regulation losses. And he had a 938 save percentage. This kid could be legit, but I've seen this storyline before and I've seen it turn out more than one way. Okay, just a couple more news topics where Logan O'Connor's making his season debut for the Colorado Avalanche today, so best of luck to him. The Dallas Stars signed themselves a rookie forward. They have signed Eria Minetin, oh my goodness, I hope I didn't butcher that too badly, to a 3-year entry-level deal. And Minetin, 21, had 2 goals, 11 points through 36 games, played with Boston College in the NCAA this season, and he was drafted 125th overall by Dallas back in the 2023 NHL entry draft. So, another draft guy getting signed, and I mean, obviously you want to sign as many of your own prospects as possible, so don't blame the Stars, and best of luck to him. But, excuse me, the Islanders are apparently, I guess, assigning Victor Eklund because he signed his rookie deal prior to the season, but they are now signing him to the Bridgeport Islanders which is their AHL roster, so to the Bridgeport Islanders in the AHL US in the coming days. So, albeit I don't think he's been sent there yet, it will be over the next few days. And Eklund is 19. He was drafted by the Islanders, obviously, in this last draft, 16th overall, and he had 24 goals. 6 goals, 24 points through 43 games played with Jared Gardens IF in the SHL this season, which that was the same team as Anton Frondell, so I assume they might have even played on the same line. But yeah, he is eligible to be called up to the NHL at any point, and I really like him as a prospect. He's pretty good. Okay, that's a lot of the news done. We have a couple more news topics before we move on to obviously your scores, but Mika Zibanejad is one of 2 players who, over the last couple of days, I guess yesterday and today, but he played his 1,000th game yesterday against the Senators, which is very ironic considering the 2 teams he has played for at the NHL level are 1, the Ottawa Senators, and 2, the New York Rangers, which obviously he got traded to in that Derek Brassard trade years back now. And yeah, Mika Zibanejad, I mean, for him to play 1,000 games, it's an incredible milestone, and you never take that for granted. And yeah, he's the kind of guy that, there's no surprise, let's be honest. But congrats, Mika. You are now part of, a select few players that are in that club. And speaking of the second player, which if I can find the post about it, oh my goodness, it's right here. And former Edmonton Oilers defenseman Adam Larsson, who Obviously, he has played games for the New Jersey Devils, which was the team that drafted him. Then he got traded to Edmonton in exchange for Taylor Hall and joined the Seattle Kraken in the expansion draft. And I loved Adam Larsson as a member of the Oilers. He's always been, a defenseman that you just look at his shutdown ability and you marvel at it. And he is absolutely incredible. And yeah, deservingly so. 1,000 games played for him, and he's obviously an assistant captain behind for another former Oiler on that Kraken team, who is their captain, and Jordan Eberle, who I have picked quite a few times and spoken about a few times as well. But yeah, congrats, Adam. And man, I mean, I hate the way it ended in Edmonton for you, but obviously, I don't hate you or nothing. I respect you as a player, and yeah, go score tonight for your 1,000th game, which I don't know who they're playing, but obviously we will get to that. And on that note, we will move on to the schedule, which obviously we will start from the recap for yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, not yesterday, because obviously, you know, we didn't make a video yesterday, so we didn't get to recap these. So I'm just going to do it real quick. I'll say the matchup, the game-winning goalie, and the winning goal scorer, and I will not even go into the shootout again for this Winnipeg New York game. So the Jets faced off against the Rangers in New York, and that would see Winnipeg beat the Rangers 3-2 in a shootout, and your winning goalie in this one would be Eric Comrie for the Jets. Moving on to the second matchup of the day, we would see the, current President Trophy winners, assuming they stand at that position, in the Colorado Avalanche face off against the Capitals, who desperately need points in the standings to make the playoffs, where we would see the Colorado Avalanche win 3-2 in overtime. And Mackenzie Blackwood would be your game-winning goaltender for the Colorado Avalanche, and Brock Nelson would score the overtime winner, which, yeah, once again, I'm not surprised. But moving on, we would see the Carolina Hurricanes face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins in, obviously, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that would see the Carolina Hurricanes come out on top 5-1, where Frederik Andersen would get the win, allowing only one goal. And we would see Nikolai Ehlers score the game winner for the Carolina Hurricanes. But now, the Nashville Predators go and visit the Chicago Blackhawks, which, I mean, the winner's not surprising to me. We would see the Nashville Predators win this one 3-2 in overtime. And I mean, good to see some close games, but obviously your winner is UC Saros, who allowed 2 for the Nashville Predators, and then Philip Forsberg would score the overtime winner with, I don't even know how many goals he's got now. He's probably in the high 20s or into the 30s even now, but yeah, excellent player, and I am not surprised. But obviously, next we have a very tight race in that Eastern Conference, where we would see the Blue Jackets and the Islanders, who I did make a short about the other day, obviously speaking about, which team I thought was going to make it at the end of the season. And these two teams are not separated by much, but in this one, the Islanders take the win, and Ilya Sorokin would get a 1-0 shutout against, obviously, the Blue Jackets, where, excellent game by him and his team. And then Bo Horvat would score the game winner in this one. And yeah, great for the Islanders. And yeah, not much else to say. This matchup I do not like. We see the Vegas Golden Knights, who obviously, the Oilers are racing in the playoffs, and generally speaking, I don't like this team. But they visited the Dallas Stars, and they would win this one 3-2, where Aiden Hill would get the win, which that's few and far between this season, and Riley Smith would get the game winner, which I know at points this season he has been a healthy scratch for the Knights, so good for him to get into a game and, obviously get his team the points. But going into our next game, we see the Tampa Bay Lightning face off against the Calgary Flames, and the Flames would actually get the win 4-3 in overtime, and they dominated this game, or were dominated at one point, and the Lightning managed to crawl back and tie the game, but Devin Cooley was too much, and obviously the Flames won in overtime, where Ryan Strome would score the game winner, which he has been pretty great since joining his brand new team in Calgary. And I did say on deadline day, I thought that was a very good trade for the Flames, only giving up a 7th for a player that later down the line they could probably flip for a lot more, but I don't know what their plan is with him, and yeah, I mean, he could even just be a solid player for them, and good for the Flames, and Yeah, after the Lightning beat the Oilers, they lose the Flames. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. But now we see the Red Hot Buffalo Sabres, or what were the Red Hot Buffalo Sabres, go into Anaheim, and Anaheim got the win, and they won 6-5 in overtime over Buffalo, where Ville Husso was actually the netminder for the Ducks, which obviously after Mrazek's injury earlier in the season, he is now the permanent backup. And then Troy Terry, of course, for the Ducks, was scored your game-winning goal. And then moving on, which, oh my gosh, this is the final game for 2 days ago. We see the LA Kings face off against the Utah Mammoth, where the Mammoth would win this one 4-3 in overtime to beat the Kings. And Karel Vejmelka, who's won a lot of hockey games this season, would win another one. And Nick Schmaltz, who's, the big money man, scored the overtime winner. And that's all I have to say regarding those games. So moving on to obviously yesterday's game, and we only saw one, and I will recap this game in full, of course, because we have to get at least one full recap in for you guys. But the Senators beat the Rangers, obviously in Mika Zibanejad's 1,000th game, and they would win 2-1, outshooting them 33-10, and 10 shots in any game is abysmal for any team, and you do not deserve to win if you take only 10 shots. And of course, the Rangers lose this one. And the Senators tighten wildcard race in East with win against Rangers. And Pinto and Fogle score for Ottawa, which improved to 14-3-2 in their past 19 games. So they are climbing, but will it be enough at season's end? I don't know just yet. But moving on to your goal scorers, which in the first period, 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, Shane Pinto would score his 19th on the power play, assisted by Claude Giroux and Jordan Spence, and that would come off of a wrist shot. And then, obviously, that was it for the first, so moving into the second period, Warren Fogle would score his 12th of the season and his third in as many games. Just 6 minutes and 46 seconds into the, second period, and it would come off of a one-timer for a Lars Eller pass, and actually, that would stand as the game winner in this one, as, the Rangers would only muster up one. And obviously, the Rangers' single goal came in the third period off of a Connor Sheary goal, which that was to be his fourth of the season. And obviously, for him and the team as a whole, they have not had an ideal season. But yeah, Connor Sheary spent the entire season with, obviously, Tampa's affiliate last season. Now he got a chance in the NHL, and he's been taking advantage of it. Obviously, he got his fourth of the year, assisted by Ty Cartier, who's been great since the Rangers claimed him off waivers from Seattle. And Matthew Robertson would get the other assist, and that goal would come with just under 13 minutes to spare. But yeah, they didn't have enough time, and nor did they take enough shots, and obviously they lose this one. But moving on to your 3 stars of the game, Warren Fogle with his game winner, which deservingly so, is your first star, which he had a single goal. Shane Pinto with his first period goal would be your second star of the night. And then Igor Shesterkin with, having only allowed 2 on 33, had himself a .939 save percentage and would be your third star of the night. But we do know that the winning goaltender in this one was obviously the Senators, and that would be James Reimer, who allowed just 1 goal on 10 shots and had himself a .900 save percentage for the Senators, which was good enough in this one, and they played a very tight, good game, evidently so. But finally, your season series, which would see the Ottawa Senators take it 2-1. The Rangers would actually take the first matchup 4-2 in Ottawa, which that would be the only matchup in Ottawa, on December 4th. Then the Sens would go into New York on January 14th and would play them, and they would win 8-4. And then, of course, just yesterday, they won 2-1, spoiling Mika Zibanejad's milestone night. And yeah, the Sens would take the season series 2-1, as the score shows right here. But that's enough of that. Let's move on to tomorrow's games, which obviously, we'll go down the list. I will just say the time once we reach the last game for that time period. So our first matchup sees the Columbus Blue Jackets go and visit the Philadelphia Flyers. And that will be Jet Greaves facing off against Dan Vladar, or Vladosh, depending on who you ask. Then we have the Ottawa Senators going into Detroit. And this is a big game in that Eastern Conference playoff race. And we will see Linus Allmark for the Senators and John Gibson for the Red Wings. But moving on to now, we have the Seattle Kraken and we have the Florida Panthers. And in this one, it'll be Joey Daccord for the Kraken and Bob for the Florida Panthers. Then, of course, we have more games because this is a very packed and loaded day in the way of games on the schedule. But we see the Chicago Blackhawks go and visit the New York Islanders. And for the Hawks, it will be Arvid Soderblom. And for the Islanders, it was confirmed to be David Rittich. Now, we have the Carolina Hurricanes visiting the Montreal Canadiens. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, we have Frederik Andersen, who won the game against the Penguins for them a couple days ago, and Iacob Dobeš will start for the Montreal Canadiens. The Colorado Avalanche visit the Pittsburgh Penguins, and obviously we know how this matchup went last time. It did not go well for the Avs, but they will have a chance to get redemption, where Scott Wedgwood will start, and Artur Shilovs will be the starting goaltender for the Penguins on the other side, and the Avs are looking for redemption, and the Pens are looking to sweep that season series. But finally, our last game at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, and that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And all of the games prior were also at this same time frame. But we will see the Toronto Maple Leafs face off against the Boston Bruins. And for the Leafs, it'll be Anthony Stolarz. And for the Bruins, it will be Jeremy Swayman. For our only 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time start, and that'll be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we see the Minnesota Wild visit the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Wild will run with Philip Gustafsson, and obviously the Lightning will run with their star goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky. And same deal here, I won't say the time again until the last matchup at this time frame, but in this match we see the San Jose Sharks go and visit the Nashville Predators, which this is an important game in that Western Conference playoff race. And we will see the Sharks start Alex Nedeljkovic, and the Predators will run with UC Saros, who obviously played last game for them and won. But then we also have the New Jersey Devils, who will face off against the Dallas Stars. And for the Devils, they will start Jake Allen, who has had himself a relatively good season, and the Stars will start Jake Ottinger, who obviously, maybe it hasn't been his greatest year, but it's been good enough because that team has been very solid this season as a whole. But now we have the Washington Capitals, who will be visiting the St. Louis Blues, and we will not see two Team Canada goalies as the Blues are opting, to run with Joel Hofer, and Logan Thompson, who is the Team Canada boy, will obviously be starting for the Washington Capitals. Finally, our last game at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, and that'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we see the Vegas Golden Knights visit the Winnipeg Jets, and Aiden Hill is confirmed for the Knights, and Connor Hellebuck is confirmed for the Winnipeg Jets, which obviously, as you can tell by the time in the bottom right, the game has already begun. But I will refresh just to make sure, and actually it has been confirmed, which at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and that'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the LA Kings will visit the Calgary Flames, and it's a big game for the Kings, and the Flames are really just there. But the Kings will start Darcy Kemper, and the Flames will run with Dustin Wolf. And then, man, we have two more games, which our first one is at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and that'll be 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which I will be watching this one, as it will be the Edmonton Oilers, my team, facing off against the Utah Mammoth, and the Oilers will be starting Tristan Jarry, and I guess the Mammoth will be starting Karel Vejmelka. And I guess Jarry feels good about his game and is obviously ready to play, and hopefully he is as ready as he says he is, because we are definitely going to need him to do decent tonight, or we're going to be in trouble here real quick. But then, of course, on the last game on the schedule, we have the Anaheim Ducks, who will be visiting the Vancouver Canucks, and I'm going to try to jinx Anaheim with this one. I think this is a definite Anaheim win, but obviously, we've seen weirder things. We've seen, the Canucks beat the Panthers and a few other teams lately, so I don't know, we'll see. But that's at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I know we will see Lucas Dostal for the Ducks, and then Kevin Lankinen, who has been pretty bad this season, start for the Vancouver Canucks. And I have only so many games to predict from, because every game that has started before that 7 o'clock game has already begun. So unfortunately, Iacob is not here, and I did not get his picks either. But for my picks of the day, I will take the. You know what? I'm gonna take my Edmonton Oilers actually to beat the Utah Mammoth, and then I think we will see. I think we are going to see a Anze Kopitar point for the LA Kings. So just to recap my picks, I said the Oilers to beat the Utah Mammoth and a Darcy Kemper. Sorry, Darcy Kemper. Well, I was looking at the starting goaltender. A Anze Kopitar point. Yeah, I will not be taking a Darcy Kemper point. No, thank you. But I did say on an Instagram post we made yesterday, but we do something special. But I honestly don't want to do anything too special without Iacob being here, of course. So I will hold off and refrain for at least a couple days. And yeah, sorry about that, guys, but you guys will have to wait for whatever Iacob and I decide to do because it's only right to do it when he's here too. But yeah, of course, go check out our Spotify as well. It is also just IK NHL Daily Talk. And yeah, if you enjoyed the episodes, obviously, we post Sundays exclusively on here. So, let us know what you think. And yes, go check out the Spotify too. And then, of course, go follow our Instagram, which is also IK NHL Daily Talk. And yeah, we're trying to build a following on all these platforms. And it's not easy going, but you do your best. And that's all you can ask for on any day. But you know how it is. And then, of course, our YouTube channel, which if you do enjoy these videos, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as that means the world to both Iacob and I. And we're trying to make something out of this, so yeah, it would be nice if you guys could support us. And yeah, honestly, don't have too much more to say, which obviously, it is a YouTube question video, so I will ask a quick question of the day. And yeah, sorry for no face cam today, guys. We'll figure it out something, and maybe we'll do it next time. But for my question of the day, hmm, I'm trying to think. Who do you guys think is going to win the Pacific Division when the season is said and done? Because that division is ridiculously close, and yeah, it's ridiculous how tight that race is. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. And on that note, I'm going to go get this video uploaded, and then I'm actually going to watch the Edmonton game tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have yourselves an excellent day, and obviously your rest of your week. And we will see you guys next time. Peace out, y'all.